Dressed with the suit trousers, crisp white shirt and tie. Over the years I've found handling success can be more a powerful thing than handling failure, because you're handling failure, you have to do better. There is no other option, Sean Dyche wrote in his programme. What about successes? How are we handling them? There is no room to get carried away, especially at this stage of the season. It was a big win. It got Everton out the relegation zone last weekend, but the focus now is staying out of the relegation zone. For Manchester City, it is staying top of the Premier League. They go first before Arsenal today. A game in hand over the Gunners, 1 point clear. Arsenal take on Brighton at 4:30. Will there be a 4-point gap for Manchester City to go out of Goodison Park with in, an hour and a half's time? Just over. We're almost ready for kick-off. Everton, royal blue shirts, white shorts and white socks, will be left to right in the first half, attacking away from the Gladys Street end, for those of you that know Goodison. And Manchester City in their third kit. Yellowy green shirts, thick navy stripes across the chest, navy shorts and the greenish socks to match the shirts as well. They are right to left instantly from kick-off. Manchester City played it back to Edison, their goalkeeper. Not one Everton player stepped into the Manchester City half. They are going to be tight defensively today. Yeah, well, if it's a case of start the way you're going to go on, then it's going to be a rearguard action for Everton. They're all in the bottom third of the pitch at the moment. Early ball bent in away from James Tarkowski, the former Oldham player. Sent forward and long by Everton, given the chase by Abdoulaye Doucouré, whose draw as part of the Everton squad back in December, the 1-1 draw at the Etihad Stadium, was actually the first time in 11 matches he'd actually picked up a point against Manchester City, previously on the losing side for Watford and Everton in all those games, and had a massive deficit in the aggregate scoreline he played in as well. So he'll be happy to come away from a point. Everton certainly were under Frank Lampard that day. And Everton can become one of just two sides to gain points off Manchester City in their 2 Premier League matches this season. The other one is Brentford, who City play on the final day. There is a contretemps. What's the referee looking at here? Manchester City have got a throw in. It's an off-the-ball incident between Jerry Mina and Haaland. It's a battle of the giants there, heavyweight contest. And that's only the opening round, I think. Only his 5th Premier League appearance of the season. Yerry Mina has had injury, has been left out of the squad by Sean Dyche on a couple of occasions. He's been fit for the last couple of months, hardly featured. Headed away as the throw comes in from the far side, City's right. Almost level with the Everton penalty area. We played 2 minutes, still 0-0, all Manchester City. And this is Ruben Diaz just striding across the halfway line. Yeah, all the players still in the... all the Everton players all just in front of Jordan Pickford, none anywhere near the halfway line yet. Dominic Calvert-Lewin inside the centre circle, but there was a good 10-yard gap back to him, and then Gay, who stands in a central midfield role. Early ball delivered by Kyle Walker over the top, looking for Haaland, bounces on through, and Jordan Pickford, who hasn't kept a clean sheet at home in his last 3 games, stands to the edge of his penalty area with the ball in his hands, points out wide to Nathan Patterson, the former Rangers man, goes long over the halfway line to the far side. Pickford, it is flicked on, but it'll just trickle towards Edison, and the Manchester City goalkeeper can knock it back in his own box and start from the back, 0-0. Amusingly, Pickford gathered that up and raced to the edge of his box, wanting to kick it long immediately, and then realised that all his teammates were just a few yards away from him because they were so far into their own half. Well, he's a packed Goodison Park this afternoon, hoping to take something off Manchester City. Rodri just outside the centre circle, left-hand side of it. City right to left in this first half. Have Kyle Walker now moving over to the right-hand side. Mahrez. Here's Diaz, and across the centre circle for Aymeric Laporte. We are right in front of, I should say, the Everton fans. No room in the press box. My leg's sticking out the door that locks the press box away. No chance they're shutting that on me, the stewards. And the fans on the wooden seats, such as the traditional nature of Goodison Park, sat right on top of me and Fred.
You should be pleased. You can actually feel your legs.
Yeah, I've been unkind to Fred. I've stuck him on the inside. It's Decore tries to feed it on the left-hand side of the penalty area. Too much pace on that for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He just shrugs his shoulders and says, actually, what was that ball? It could have been a lot better for Everton to break through the City line at the back. Edison gathers, and City are off up to the halfway line again, 0-0.
Yeah, they're knocking across the back. Laporte to the feet of Foden. Just slow build up. You've got no choice when you've got a full 11 in front of you. But everywhere you look, there's a blue shirt marking one of your teammates. But patience is a wonderful thing, and the City players have learnt that they need it in abundance.
Taken away by Dwight McNeil as City tried to get it out on the right-hand side, who experienced relegation with Burnley last season. Oh, it's a sloppy pass back, and Pickford has to react quick to take it past Haaland, and then belts a long ball up the field looking for Iwobi to chase. Laporte heads it down. Diaz scoops it over the top. Tarkowski with the header back out to the left-hand side. It's a good one as well. Another one who experienced relegation with Burnley last season, James Tarkowski. Here's McNeil, early cross in. Huge appeals of handball off Kyle Walker. Everton will settle for the first corner of the game over on the far side there left.
Yeah, Mason Holgate there getting himself in a bit of trouble. Looked very, very uncomfortable on the left-hand side. I'm not an Everton expert, but if there's one player that I wouldn't even consider playing at left-back, it's him.
Yeah, there was a similar theme talking to people pre-match of an Everton persuasion as well, that Holgate right-footed isn't the best option for Everton, but Vitaly Mykolenko, who played at left-back against Brighton, isn't part of the squad at all today. Corner far side then to Everton.
Might still be at Europe.
In it goes, headed away. Diaz with a big header. And comes back out to the corner taker on the far side. Dwight McNeil has it, midway inside the Manchester City half. He scuffs his pass forward and somehow comes out with the ball, loses it though as he runs into Rodri. Back Rodri goes to Edison, who passes it straight out of his penalty area to Iwobi, and then Decore tries to catch Diaz off guard, and that's done the Everton fans the world of good. It doesn't actually result in a big chance on the Manchester City goal, but it's unsettled the City back line, and it's got the Goodison Park faithful on their feet.
And it's also given the Everton team a little bit of a boost, a little bit more of a spring in the step. It was sloppy by Edison, and that's being kind.
Foden, the first time Edison's played risky passes like that this season. Akanji from the left centre-back position scoops it up over the top, delivers it beautifully to Mahrez, and the control is equally as good, and Mason Holgate just catches Mahrez there, pulls him down just outside the penalty area. 10 yards from the byline, free kick, Manchester City.
I'll tell you this, I'll repeat it for the last time. Mason Holgate there, surely not. Dwight McNeil's going to be in for a very, very long afternoon tracking back if it continues the way the game has started for the first 6 minutes for that left back position. He's just gone past Holgate on his left hand side, Riyad Mahrez, literally as though he wasn't there, and embarrassingly dragged him to the floor.
And there was wonder if Everton don't go forward at the back, does McNeil and Patterson out to the wing backs and Everton go to a 5? They are solidly set defensively here.
They're not
everybody
very high.
Everybody on the edge of the 6-yard box. Mahrez to take this free kick, sent it in near post. Header is up by Iwobi and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and it will run out towards this far side Manchester City throw.
Yeah, it's a strange delivery from Mahrez. It was neither a full-blooded cross nor a chip or a clip. It was just a ball played into the area, and it was so close to the goal. It was odds on an Everton head getting it away.
Everton, who've won just one of their last 19 against Manchester City, came in a 4-0 win here back in January 2017, which is still Pep Guardiola's biggest top-flight defeat as a manager. Foden crossing in from the left-hand side. Tarkowski, big header away. He marshalled Haaland well in the reverse fixture, and he's having to do the same again. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin's laid it out to the right-hand side for Iwobi, and Decore's made a run. Kyle Walker comes across to put him off and force him out wide. Decore plays it off Kyle Walker, who can't keep it in play, but instead of a corner, sends it the other side of the corner flag for a Manchester City throw-in. 8 minutes played on BBC Radio Manchester and anywhere in the UK today on BBC Sounds. Everton 0, Manchester City 0. And as good as City look on the ball and as much possession as they've had in the opening 8.5 minutes, Fred Ayres, Pickford goes long, wasted, straight to the hands of Edison. Everton on the break are looking dangerous.
Well, they certainly did then. Again, our our marking, City's marking, wasn't touch tight, which is understandable with them, with Everton playing so deep. But when they did spring forward, it looked with intent. McNeil obviously carries a threat.
0-0 with Walker on the ball, right-hand side, the far for Manchester City. This is Rodri. Those lime green socks pulled up to knee height for him. It is Akanji. Foden lays it in the channel for Ilkay Gundogan, backs away from the penalty area. And it's going to be a Manchester City throw-in despite the Everton protests. Back there was Gay for Everton. Diaz. Akanji moves it out towards the right-hand side. Plenty of space for Kyle Walker. There's a back five for Everton when Manchester City have the ball, it looks like. With Patterson and Mina, Tarkowski, Holgate and Dwight McNeil as well. Foden wants to take on Patterson near side for Manchester City. Lays it back. It is Akanji, and he'll go back to the halfway line for Diaz. And City will have to be patient here. The manager, Pep Guardiola, stands with his cardigan on, but hands on hips for the minute.
Yeah, but Everton, it's okay. We're used to seeing opposing teams playing in a complete block, but they're so deep. And they're just as a starting position for Everton, almost on Jordan Pickford's toes.
Sean Dyche lost 14 of his 15 matches in charge of Burnley against Pep Guardiola. They drew one of those. The aggregate score across those 15 games, 46 in Manchester City's favour, just 5 in Burnley's camp. Here's Foden, gets to the left corner of the penalty area. Iwobi will force him out wide. There's a mismatch in muscle there. Foden does well though. This is Akanji trying to drop a shoulder turn against Patterson and can't, and Everton will break here on this near side. Dominic Calvert-Lewin tries to flick the ball around Ruben Diaz, forces him out to this near side touchline. There are 3 over on the far side for Everton if Calvert-Lewin can see them, and he has. Decore pokes it into the path of McNeil. Decore again, he's got Gay on the edge of the D. Heavy touch and he loses out, and now Manchester City will look to break Everton, but quickly swarmed Rodri by 3 blue shirts of the Toffees, and he has to play it back. Everton reset. Manchester City just calmed down on the ball.
That's what they're doing immediately. They've obviously been working on this for quite a long time, because the minute anything breaks down, the first thought in the Everton players' minds is to get back into shape, the shape that the manager has given them, which is every single player behind the ball. Very hard to break down.
0-0 it remains then. Here's Foden. Foden, left-footed pass infield from the near side touchline, uses Aymeric Laporte on the halfway line. Akanji, you go long, but it's poor and misguided. And he puts his hands to his face. He knows he should have done better there. Manuel Akanji knows he can do better. We've played 12 minutes. It is 0-0. And I think Sean Dyche will be the happier of the two managers.
Well, he will, because it's so obvious that this is something that's completely set up from the manager. It is deep. It is one block of players starting at the front with Calvert-Lewin, who's on the ball now, and then try and get forward as quickly as you can whenever you do regain possession.
Calvert-Lewin should have done better there. Everton played a quick 1-2 from the back. Mina forward, it was rolled on through to Calvert-Lewin. He carried his run out towards the left-hand side. McNeil couldn't get out the way quick enough, and as Calvert-Lewin did try and put the man born in Rochdale through, Manchester City won the ball back. Kyle Walker 5 yards inside his own half. Everton 0, Manchester City 0. City right to left in this first half, with Diaz inside the centre circle. Here's Laporte, Akanji near side, to Foden on the touchline in front of his manager Pep Guardiola, who's waving out a right arm at the moment, pointing instructions to one of the players. I think he was looking in the direction of Rodri. Akanji again back out to the left. A rare start today for Phil Foden, ever since the international break where he had to have his appendix removed. He's found himself out of favour as Walker on the right-hand side slides it through. Alvarez is on the byline. He'll try and look for Haaland and pull it back. There's enough there for Everton and Yerry Mina. And now Decore can try the left-hand side again. And he's played back to their own penalty area. 0-0 the score. A Iwobi little side foot pass, uses James Garner, who was on loan at Nottingham Forest last season. They didn't choose to sign him. Everton took the advantage there. Pickford clears it out, far side, first time hit. Poor from the Everton goalkeeper, really. Could have done better. And Manchester City have a throw-in with Kyle Walker on the far side there, right, 10 yards or so inside the Everton half. It is thrown back into the City half for Diaz. Back to Everton's territory it goes with Laporte. Here is Foden. Foden races up against Patterson towards the byline. Patterson gets a touch, and Manchester City have their first corner of the game.
Yes, and as the game settles down, it's obvious that Sean Dyche has been prepared to sacrifice what I consider to be their most dangerous and creative player, Dwight McNeil, who's been performing almost permanently in a back six and working very, very hard up and down the touchline to get to that position. He's been prepared to sacrifice his skills for the good of this system.
Ilkay Gundogan with a corner to the edge of the area with Alvarez bending in. The header is away from Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and it's a throw-in, not a corner. And Calvert-Lewin gets a round of applause from some of the Everton fans behind us for doing so. Whether he meant it for a throw-in or not, or whether it's just a bit of fortune. But we played quarter of an hour, 0-0. And I think Calvert-Lewin has gone down in the penalty area. No, he hasn't. In the aftermath of it, the corner, someone's down in the box and just being seen to by the referee.
He's refusing to allow the medics on. Referee.
Player is up. It is Yerry Mina who is down.
Doctor.
0-0 then on BBC Radio Manchester. Shortly the Women's FA Cup final begins via the BBC Sport website app. When we're done here at Goodison Park, you'll get the remainder of that game on BBC Radio Manchester. And then that's followed in a massive weekend of competitive action by the Premiership semi-final. Sale Sharks against Leicester Tigers at the AJ Bell Stadium yesterday. We brought you 2 playoff games. A busy end to the season. Lots to play for on BBC Radio Manchester, including here the Premier League title for Manchester City. If you're of Everton persuasion, then it's the fight to stay in the Premier League. Here's Akanji, left-hand side. Gundogan, who stayed out from that corner that eventually went for a throw-in. Diaz just away from his penalty area. Foden, Akanji again in towards Laporte, who is very much a central midfielder at this moment in time. The back line being held up by Walker, Diaz and Akanji.
Everton's back six looks permanent. It actually doesn't look as though you've got to come back and fill in. It is permanently like a washing line. 6 blue shirts right across in one line.
Foden against Patterson. Laporte takes over towards the corner of the penalty area. It's an early delivery in with no real look up from Laporte as to where that was going. Oh, Mahrez, lovely bit of skill to take it past McNeil. Mahrez will then send it back post. Laporte heads it back into the penalty area. Akanji with a scooping header. Gundogan inside the 6-yard box. Ball never felt quite right to him, and Everton have hacked it away. I think they've won a free kick in that process as well for offside, was it? But a dangerous moment at the back, and almost it was having too many cooks that spoil the broth there for Everton defensively.
Yeah, and the ball just wouldn't come down quick enough for him. He got into the position a little too early, Ilkay Gundogan, and had to wait that extra split second for the ball to drop, and that was all that was required. He was pounced on by 4 of the back 6.
Everton 0, Manchester City 0. We have played 17.5 minutes here at Goodison Park. Manchester City a point clear of Arsenal before the start of play today. They have that game in hand, which is currently the earliest they can win the title, providing they win here today. Brighton away in the penultimate week of the season. They will go on the Wednesday night to the South Coast. Walker's gone on a big run down the right-hand side. Rodri's picked him up. Can Walker keep it in? No, he can't on the byline. And it's behind for an Everton goal kick. Yeah,
good effort. 70-yard sprint from Walker. He's capable of it, but he got there just a fraction too late and crossed the ball into the side netting. Lesser player wouldn't have even got there. He just shows such tremendous pace. He shows no signs of slowing up, slowing down as his career progresses. He's still like lightning on recovery.
Closing in on 250 appearances, Kyle Walker in all competitions for Manchester City. This is number 248 today. Ilkay Gundogan's out there. This is appearance number 300 for him as a Manchester City player. And here he is on the ball now, moving it out to the left-hand side. But inside the Blues half for Foden, who takes a step infield, gets past Patterson, who trips him up. Foden stays on his feet. And Manchester City working out to the right-hand side, but Everton are set defensively. Once again, Walker, right-hand side, out towards Phil Foden. Lovely chest control from the England international from Stockport. It is Akanji to Rodri. Rodri with a little dink towards the right corner of the penalty area, headed up by McNeil, but brought down by Mahrez, and his layoff to the corner of the penalty area was poor, and Holgate sends it out towards the far side. Calvert-Lewin and Walker chase. Walker clears it out of play. It's an Everton throw in far side, right on the halfway line.
Yeah, it's still the same pattern. City pushing forward, Everton virtually inviting them on, and then trying to hit on the break. Dwight McNeil is going to have superhuman lungs if he's going to keep this up for 94 minutes.
That's the test for Everton, isn't it? How do they stay so concentrated and not be tired by a Manchester City side that will pull them side to side? So far they've held up, 20 minutes in. Idrissa Gueye just plays it back to Tarkowski in a moment where he could have turned and gone forward inside the centre circle. Here he is again, Gueye out towards this near side now. Yerry Mina down the inside right channel he goes, using Garner to Patterson. Iwobi has to stretch. The ball was too far in front of him, and Manchester City can win it back. They play it back to their edge of their own penalty area with Ruben Diaz, who will just jog forward and then pays a right-footed side pass to his left-hand side for Aymeric Laporte. Overcast day here at Goodison Park. A little bit of a breeze around the Everton flag on top of the stand opposite us, flapping slowly in the wind. The Gladys Street end towards our left-hand side. This traditional stadium where you walk in and amongst the terraced houses to arrive at Goodison Park. A stone's throw away from Anfield as Foden puts in Gundogan on the left-hand side. It comes off Gueye. It's another Manchester City corner.
Yeah, just got to keep going down the sides the way they are. Can't get through the middle. It's too crowded. So try and find an opening down either side of the field. Mahrez looks particularly dangerous on the right-hand side, but this was Gundogan breaking into that space on the left-hand side, and it's a corner, and it's going to be taken by Alvarez, is it?
Gundogan on the near side. Corner taken for today, it seems, by Manchester City when it's on the left-hand side, which is the near. Gundogan scoops it up right towards Jordan Pickford's goal, but it bends in. It was Alvarez in the end, and then bends out towards the roof of the net, and it's a wasted corner for Manchester City.
It is. We don't see him take them very often, and that's probably the reason why.
0-0 midway through this first half, then, almost, on BBC Radio Manchester and BBC Sounds. Everton, who put 5 past Brighton last time out. That's 15% of their goals this season were scored in one game. Remarkable, really. Gundogan just pats a right arm down, telling Laporte not to pass it him, to just assess where to go next. And it is a simple pass to the right-hand side for Ruben Diaz. It is Mahrez up against McNeil for now. Holgate stands on the corner of the penalty area. It seems a weak point for Everton if Manchester City can target that. 0-0 it remains, though, with Akanji on the ball. Diaz inside the centre circle, and then Walker out towards the far right-hand side. It is Mahrez to take on McNeil. Mahrez coming infield from the far side touchline. Changed his mind, goes back to Walker, delivered back to Mahrez. Left-footed, floating ball to the rear of the penalty area, off Patterson's head. And it's a corner to Manchester City now. Gundogan's taken one. Alvarez has taken one. And the way that Alvarez is... No, he was jogging towards this side area. He's elected not to. And it will be Ilkay Gundogan to take for the Blues. 0-0.
Yeah, Alvarez has come over. It can be a 3-man corner if they want. That's 3 against 1. Gueye is the only blue player, and here it is, 3-man corner.
Alvarez led off to Mahrez, edge of the D. Heavy touch means he can't get the shot away. Alvarez leaves it to go through the Gundogan. It's a bending ball to the back stick. Again, just high, ever so slightly clipping the roof of the net as it falls down. And it's a goal kick to Everton. Can Manchester City do anything else here, Fred Air, to test Jordan Pickford a little bit more?
Well, there's still plenty of time, and I preached a little bit of patience after the first couple of minutes, because I could see the way things were shaping up, and I don't think it's 23 minutes is enough to start changing or worrying about finding a way in. Just got to keep this going for a little bit more, and wait for a lapse of concentration from this Everton team, who have dealing with defence rather than not even thinking about getting forward. They've got their priorities.
Here's McNeil as Everton do come forward down the right-hand side initially with Iwobi. Akanji managed to clear it. Everton have it now far side, the left, with Dwight McNeil. Lays it back, and it's safety first from Everton. Tarkowski to Pickford, who a moment ago had taken a goal kick whilst Fred was talking, straight to Phil Foden. Foden then passed it in favour to Idrissa Gueye. And settling play from both sides. Here's Patterson. Oh, it's poor in-field pass. Gundogan, does he trip his man? Yeah, referee Anthony Taylor says so. Garner down by the German. And it is going to be an Everton free kick, 10 yards, if that, inside the Manchester City half. Out on this near side, the right. A trio of Everton substitutes are warming up on this near side. Includes Neil Maupay, whose spell at Everton in terms of goals has been absolutely dreadful. For now, Everton's focus is on keeping a clean sheet and not necessarily scoring. Although they've got his chance here with his free kick, which McNeil will set down the ball to take.
City has set their line up about 15 yards outside their own penalty area.
McNeil clips it in towards the edge of the box. Diaz gets his header to it, but it's a backwards one. Everton corner far side.
As opposed to the other end, when City have had a free kick, they've all been nearly on Jordan Pickford's toes. So it's amazing how different coaches set up differently for the same situations.
Well, we've played 25 minutes 0-0. Here's an Everton opportunity, though, with the corner far side, the left, to be taken in swinging delivery towards Edison, who gets a big right fist behind it, punches it out of the penalty area. And as the header is returned from Patterson, it's Haaland's headed away, and now Mahrez is on the chase. But between Patterson and McNeil, Everton deal with it. Substitutes were applauding down on the touchline, and Pickford kills a long searching ball out towards this near side. Iwobi half a chase. Akanji with the header down. Here's Rodri in the centre circle. Alvarez is challenged, and Decore wins the ball for Everton. He scored twice in the win over Brighton last week. Abdoulaye Decore. All of his goals have come away from home this season, actually. As he misguides his ball, and it's out for a throw in near side for Manchester City. 0-0, 26 minutes played. Now towards that far side, Walker back into his own half, finds Ruben Diaz. It has to be a game of attrition for where Manchester City are concerned. Foden on the left, he wants to take on Patterson, gets past him, half a chance anyway, in towards Gundogan towards the byline. Two Everton players slide in, Gundogan plays it off Patterson, and Manchester City have a corner.
Yeah, two Everton players slid in, as you so rightly say, but neither of them got the ball, and it was Gundogan that got there first, but his cross then ended up being diverted for a corner. Any contact there, I think that would have been a penalty.
It's Alvarez on corner taking duty left-hand side for City. Rolls it simply to the edge of the box, low along the byline to Foden. Now it's back to Gundogan, and then the flash shot from Mahrez, edge of the box.
One too many.
Over the bar, behind goal kick, 0-0.
Yeah, a short corner, then a cross, and really it should go in or something definite at that point. But no, it went one more, and it was inevitable the way it was coming at Mahrez for the final shot, that it was going to go way over the bar. It just wasn't conducive to being hit from there.
Goal kick then away to our left-hand side for Jordan Pickford, the Everton goalkeeper, England goalkeeper as well. Calvert-Lewin misses his header, as does Laporte, but it won't find Iwobi either, and goes straight on through to Edison. Everton here at Goodison Park, miserable record. They've lost 9 already this season. That's the joint most they've ever had in a Premier League campaign. City today, and then it's Bournemouth, their final home opponents. Manchester City have just one home game left of the Premier League season, next Sunday against Chelsea. This is Diaz. Diaz to Akanji, just stroking it across the back line on the edge of the defensive third. 0-0 the score. Rodri. Gundogan will have space on the left-hand side, and Everton a little bit stretched there, but Gundogan's passing field to Laporte. Silent challenge from Gueye doesn't do a lot. Back to Manuel Akanji with his braided hair on the halfway line. Chipped out towards the right-hand side. Walker can now attack. Kyle Walker for Manchester City. Diaz. Now Akanji. Again, here is Foden. Reminder, just getting underway at Wembley. Manchester United women in their first ever FA Cup final against Chelsea. Live from Wembley. It's starting on the BBC Sport website and app right now. At the conclusion of this game, we'll be joining our commentary team at the National Stadium. And then it's off to the AJ Bell Stadium for a bit of rugby union action. Sale Sharks against Leicester Tigers. Everton's press here as City have it inside the penalty area. Edison digs right under that ball. It flies high in the sky with a load of backspin on it. I'll let the fans do the talking there, Fred.
Yeah, it doesn't take much to stir this Everton crowd. They just expect full commitment, and anything, any show of fight is warmly appreciated, and they're on the feet as we speak.
Brentford have the lead at home to West Ham in the Premier League as well. Brian and Bumo with the goal for the Bees. As City come down the right, Mora's lovely reverse pass into Kyle Walker, gets to the byline, he belts in a cross, it takes a deflection and is behind for a corner to Manchester City. Manchester United scored inside the opening 26 seconds at Wembley against Chelsea in the FA Cup final, but it's been disallowed, it won't count. So 0-0 it remains at Wembley. Commentary on the BBC Sport website and app. Offside the reason at the National Stadium. Corner far side to Manchester City. Riyad Mahrez, left-footed, in-swinging delivery. Expected. He rolls it to the right corner of the penalty area. Foden can't kill him from there. He drives it in low, though. It hits McNeil. It flies up in the air. Foden challenges for the header. Mahrez in the loose ball. Now Walker. Sean Dyche wanted his players to evacuate the penalty area quickly there. Stand the high line up. It didn't happen. Now they're camped on the edge of their 18-yard box. Walker. Alvarez left-hand side. Bends in a lovely ball. It's over Haaland. It'll run past Akanji. And Dwight McNeil hacks that away. Gundogan will try and bring it down on the right-hand side. Does so brilliantly, actually, and passes it to Phil Foden. Lovely work from the midfielder of Manchester City there in a difficult situation. Here is Mahrez, central position, midway inside the Everton half. It's a sidestep from Alvarez and he's intercepted. Dominic Calvert-Lewin has got to go all alone here. 5 City shirts around him and he's caught by Mahrez just outside the centre circle. It's going to be an Everton free kick.
Yeah, he was caught in possession. It would have been a one-man show. He'd have had to dribble from the halfway line through virtually the entire Manchester City defence. So it was an unnecessary free kick to concede, because if the next player wouldn't have got Calvert-Lewin, the one after would. There was that many players between him and Edison in goal. But a free kick it is. Dwight McNeil, who at the moment is the furthest player back, clipping the ball up.
Ball down in the box here. Garner's going to be first to react to it. Left-hand side, belts in the cross, but it's away by so many Manchester City bodies. Whatever that was, hooked up towards the edge of the penalty area. Everton might try and keep it alive. Double ricochet on the header. Foden clears it long. Oh, Alvarez is going to be on the chase here, and he might be through on goal. Runs away towards the left-hand side. 2 Everton players around him, and Gay makes the challenge that takes it away from the Argentinian. They're celebrating that like a goal, Freda.
Yeah, and they're celebrating McNeil. He was the man who chased 50 yards back to make the intercept, to make the challenge. He is absolutely put in such a shift after the first half hour here. It's inhuman. If he was a donkey, they'd put him in a sanctuary.
Everton are 2 points clear of the relegation zone. They are scrapping for every point. And they are making Manchester City work for a Premier League title here. 0-0, 12 minutes to half-time. Here is Patterson, Iwobi. Tight situation now for Everton on the edge of their own penalty area. Mina will send it long. Walker with a cushioned header down, but Garner might nick in here, and all of a sudden it's 4 against 3 in Everton's favour. Here is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Good first touch. Walker across to cover. Brilliant defensive work from the right back, who has every reason to question where the defence went through there. Everton looked dangerous on the break. Calvert-Lewin took a step inside on the edge of the D and couldn't get the shot away because of Kyle Walker, corner near side.
Yeah, Walker again doing what Walker does best, sniffing out the danger and then snuffing out the danger.
Everton corner, but Manchester City, given the situation they were in, will most definitely take it. 0-0 the score. It will be Dwight McNeil near side to take. Everton's right. Left-footed, in-swinging delivery, floats to the back post, heads go up! Oh no! How's Mason Holgate missed that? What a chance! Well, he's criticised before the game by the Everton fans. He's been maligned during some of this game as well. Manchester City with a huge let-off. The goal was gaping from a yard out for Mason Holgate, and somehow he sent it high and wide. Big let-off for Manchester City.
Well, all I can say from a Manchester City point of view is that fell to the right player.
Hard to disagree with that. Here's Foden down the left. He wants to take on Patterson. The arms are out, trying to push each other away from one another. Foden's delivery in. Tarkowski's header away. Will come 30 yards out to Laporte. Left-hand side of centre. Rodri low shot. On target. Pickford diving down to his right-hand side. Makes the save. Everton 0. Manchester City 0.
Yeah, decent effort from the edge of the box. Rodri didn't get a totally clean connection. Low down for Pickford. But... There was Haaland hoping for a spill back from the England keeper. He didn't get one, but at least he was there in the vicinity.
Foden to Laporte. Manchester City now need to just calm things down a little bit, because we've heard and seen what Everton can do. Corner came in from McNeil to the back post. Headed across goal, and Holgate was there unmarked, and he could have put Everton 1-0 up. Here's Laporte. Foden, Laporte again, and back into the centre circle for Diaz. Sean Dyche won 1 of 17 games against Manchester City as Burnley boss. It came against Pellegrini's City in March 2015. They nearly had the lead here. Cross comes in, looking for Haaland, who I'll be interested to see his touch count, actually, because he can't have had many, if any. Walker right-hand side, out towards Mahrez, draws level with the corner of the penalty area. 0-0 the score. City look for the breakthrough. Sent in towards Gundogan on the turn! Oh, it's a brilliant goal from Ilkay Gundogan! He was at the double against Leeds last weekend, and turning on the volley, edge of the 6-yard box, quietens down Goodison Park and scores for the Blues to put them 4 clear of Arsenal at the top of the Premier League as it stands. Everton 0, Manchester City 1.
He was in the 6-yard box, Gundogan, when the ball flew towards him. He was surrounded by 3 Everton players. The ball was in mid-air. He had to wait a fraction for it to come down a little bit so that he could get a swivel and an acrobatic attempt on goal. It was audacious, but Gundogan specialises in such things, and he's done it again. The 3 Everton defenders were left just gawping at him as he went about his business, and flicked the ball virtually over his shoulder past the startled Pickford for the opening goal. No more than City deserve, because they're the team that have actually been taking the game to the opposition, as opposed to Everton just trying to survive and hopefully get lucky at the other end. So 1-0 Manchester City, well deserved, although I'm sure this Goodison faithful would not agree with that.
Certainly not with the chance that fell before that, as Calvert-Lewin heads the long ball out towards this near side. Good work by Laporte to stop Iwobi getting there. Everton 0, Manchester City 1. 7 minutes to the break. It was a fantastic goal from Ilkay Gundogan on his 300th Manchester City appearance. He crowns it with a goal. He scored City's last 3 Premier League goals now, and all from a midfield position as well. But that turn, that shot, that spin, as Fred said, 3 Everton players around him couldn't get near it. Here he is again, and Patterson's down on the floor, and Gundogan will put it in for Haaland!
Yes.
Erling Haaland, with just his second touch of the game, gets Manchester City's second goal of the game. And with 7 minutes to half-time, City have a lead that should see them in control of this match. Delightful header from Haaland, so quiet, but that's when he's most dangerous. And a header at the back post, past Pickford. It's Everton 0, City 2.
Gundogan again, world class. collecting the ball on the left-hand side, made his way to the byline, looked up as he was doing so, as great players do, saw the whole picture, saw the giant Haaland hovering on the back post, irrespective of where Jerry Mina was, just looked up, clipped the ball, a neat little clip, just enough to evade all the Everton players jumping in front of him. Haaland head and shoulders above everyone, bang, get in, 2-0.
There's a statue outside Goodison Park of Dixie Dean, who has the record in the English game for most goals in a season in all competitions, 63. For Erling Haaland, that is 52 in 48 games, 11 more, with at least 4 games to go this season, maybe 5 for the Champions League final. Sorry, 6, maybe 5 games to go, maybe 6 for the Champions League final. This is Patterson, right-hand side. Fred Aerith, the first goal was important through Gundogan, particularly after what Everton had done in the moments before. How important is the second goal for City now?
Well, it was as important as it was a surprise. I just didn't expect. I was happy for the first goal after all the graft that you had to put in against 11 men behind the ball.
Decore, right-hand side, low ball in, away by Diaz. Calvert-Lewin was lurking, trying to get in position. Offside flag up anyway, free kick.
But I've been finally broken them down. I fully then expected half-time to come and go. I didn't expect so suddenly for number 2 to go in, but I should expect anything when Gundogan's in the mood that he's in this rich vein of form, scoring goals, missing penalties, but he's a wonderful, wonderful player. What an example as a professional footballer. And of course you've got the ever eager Haaland just to rise above everybody and power that header in. It was wonderful.
I said to Pep Guardiola last week after his 2 goals against Leeds, Ilkay Gundogan, he's out of contract in the summer. I said, has Ilkay Gundogan proven why he should remain at Manchester City? And Pep Guardiola responded, said, it's not just today that we know what we want for next season. Reading between the lines, but there's still no pen to paper from Ilkay Gundogan.
I can't read between the lines. What did that actually mean?
To me, that says they want Gundogan to stay.
Right. But I'm sure they do. Who wouldn't?
But still no contract.
His legs are wobbling and etc. All the other telltale signs of a player of his age.
We talk about it on the latest episode of our new Manchester City podcast, which you can get every Monday. We're Not Really Here. Myself, Natalie Pike, and a special guest each week. This week, Stephen McInerney, the Manchester City super fan and YouTube vlogger, esteemed company as he's known on social media, gives his thoughts and said whatever the cost, keep Ilkay Gundogan. He's 32 years old. It's not as if he is 34, 35. As Fred says, the legs aren't wobbling yet. And still nothing. And my other thought in that process is that Manchester City only have 2 home games left this season. Surely, if he wasn't going to stay, they would announce it so they can give the farewell against Chelsea next week in the Premier League. Haaland's foul as a long ball was drifted off the ball. Challenge, clash of players, and it's going to be a free kick to Manchester City midway inside the Everton half. Pretty central.
Yeah, it looks as though it might take a while, this free kick. City are in no hurry to take it, and Everton, not unnaturally, look deflated. I have a shred of sympathy for Dwight McNeil. He has actually done the work of 4 players throughout this first half. Willingly seems to have done it. He doesn't seem to have been need egging on from the touchline or any instructions. He seems to have done it as a matter of course. He's actually been very, very good.
Brentford have scored a second against West Ham, 2-0. Johan Vissel with the goal there as Mahrez sends the ball into the box. Header away by Tarkowski, comes to the right-hand side. Walker, terrible shot. And he was either trying to drill that low across the box and got it wrong, or he was going for goal. Either way, high over the bar. For Everton, this result means they are just a point above the relegation zone with 2 games left. Leeds behind them, Leicester, who play, they've got a game in hand to come, and Southampton, who were relegated yesterday in the 2-0 home defeat against Fulham. 90 seconds left of the first half, and Pickford sent a terrible ball to the halfway line, never really got off the ground, and Everton do come out with it. Patterson Forward ball over the top, looking for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. It will go past him, go past Laporte, and into the hands of a very grateful Ederson. Everton 0, Manchester City 2. We'll be going to Wembley shortly, and at half-time you can hear the latest on Manchester United women against Chelsea women in the FA Cup final at Wembley Stadium. Here's Laporte, and then we'll be back here for second half action. The FA Cup final remains on BBC Sounds on the BBC Sport website and app. Another play by Iwobi, Manchester City throw-in, near side the left, as we enter that final minute of the first half. We'll find out shortly how much added time there will be. I'm hearing a couple of minutes. This is Diaz across the centre circle from the left-hand side to the far side, the right. Kyle Walker. Diaz again, and Manchester City happy to run down the clock here and calm things down. They were up against it till they scored the first, a wonderful Ilkay Gundogan goal. Matched by the head of Erling Haaland, and goal number 52 in the season, goal number 36 in the Premier League, and he's 14th away from home. The record in a single season away from home in the Premier League is 16 by Kevin Phillips in 2000. As Foden stands one up, Haaland's header is backwards. That's about as best he could do in that situation. 2 minutes of added time. This is Mahrez, right-hand side of the penalty area. 10 yards from the byline, lays it back. It's all a bit easy to pass it through for Manchester City.
Haaland's just been dragged down.
Walker, Gundogan, nearly. It beaten Pickford. Yerry Mina was sliding in on the line. Mason Holgate sees it down the left-hand touchline, but can't clear it properly.
Mina pulled him down off the ball there, Haaland.
VAR can check. I was enjoying the...
he's just had a punch at Gundogan now. He's lost his head, Yerry Mina. Telling you.
Here's Mahrez. Half-time can't come quick enough for Everton. Lots of criticism for Mason Holgate from the Everton fans behind us.
He's just miskicked it in his own penalty area.
Here is Rodri, right-hand side. Uses Walker. Walker to Gundogan. Gundogan back to Rodri, just away from the penalty area. The first minute is gone of the two that were added on, and Manchester City lead by 2-0. Here is Foden. Back to the centre circle for Diaz. Everton reset defensively as Rodri chips it over the top. The run is made by Mahrez, header away by Mason Holgate. Alvarez up against McNeil. McNeil does well enough, and there's a throw-in on that far side to Manchester City.
Yeah, they're just looking for the break now. They want to get in the sanctuary of the dressing room and listen to what plan B will be from Sean Dyche,
who still stands on this technical area. The freshly ironed white shirt. Here is Laporte. Down the middle goes Rodri, out to the right-hand side with a little bit of ease. Just flicked round the corner from Alvarez to Mahrez. Walker's continued to run on the right as Mahrez comes infield for Laporte. Back out to Walker again. He'll have a look up, see who's in the box. Can't get the cross in now. Time has gone by. And the referee blows for half-time. Well, Manchester City at one point were on the ropes. Mason Holgate missed an open goal really from a yard out. Free chance at the near post from an Everton corner. Once it was headed back across goal, some of the City technical directors head down their executive boxes for half-time. They will be happy because as soon as Holgate missed that chance, City went up the other end. Ilkay Gundogan, who on the edge of the 6-yard box just turned beautifully and volleyed it into the bottom left-hand corner for 1-0 City, and moments later they made it 2-0. Haaland's header, back post, and Manchester City have given themselves breathing space at half-time. Everton 0, City 2.
Yeah, they had to earn the right there to get those late first half goals, and they had to show patience, the City team and the manager on the touchline, because right from the word go, Everton, Sean Dyche made his intentions perfectly clear, nothing wrong with that, and that the minute we're out of possession, we have to get into this complete system, otherwise it won't work. It worked for maybe 35 minutes, and then inevitably there was a moment of lack of concentration, if we want to call it that, but it was by 3 players who were surrounding Ilkay Gundogan, as a difficult ball was played into the penalty area. Difficult for any player other than Gundogan, I think. He was able to control it virtually in midair and spin and turn and dispatch it past Jordan Pickford from close range. And then just shortly afterwards, no time at all, Gundogan again picked the ball up inside the penalty area, left-hand side, looked up, clipped it up to the back post, knowing full well where Erling Haaland was. Meat and drink for him, head and shoulders above everybody else, powered the header past Jordan Pickford, 2-0.
It's just Haaland's second touch. It's all going well here for Manchester City. 4 points clear at the top of the Premier League as it stands. Let's take you to Wembley, where Manchester United women are in action against Chelsea. Stacey Copeland.
Thank you, Mike. And yes, back to Goodison Park for second half commentary shortly. But a reminder, you can hear Sale Sharks against Leicester Tigers in the Premiership semi-final on the BBC Sport website and app. And that is from 3. Right now, though, we're live at Wembley for the Women's FA Cup final. It's Manchester United 0, Chelsea 0. Let's join your commentary team of Helen Hardy and Gaz Drinkwater.
Thank you very much, Stacey. We are now on FM DAB online on BBC Radio Manchester. It is the Women's FA Cup final. It's 0-0 currently. Manchester United have had the ball in the back of the net in less than 30 seconds, in fact. Was adjudged to be offside in the end. It was Galton who poked home. But Ella Toone in the build-up adjudged to be offside. It was a relatively controversial one for you, Helen Hardy. But since then, the game was levelled up in the last 5 minutes. Well, Manchester United will be happier of the 2 teams with the start today. Katie Zellum in possession now inside her own half. Goes back to Millie Turner. Mary Earps on the ball. Thinks about going long instead. To May Letitia, the new signing from Brighton in the summer. Had a fantastic debut season at United. As Parish tries to advance forward. Is challenged in the centre of the pitch by Eriksson, who came forward for Chelsea. And is forced to go back to Millie Turner. Letitia to her right. Ball into the feet of Toone, who feeds the pass really well to Battier. She's got a lot of space on this right-hand side. The ever-creative Battier along the ground for Russo. Just getting there was the Chelsea defender, and they've managed to clear it away, have they? Well, no, because Katie Zellum's there to block the clearance as it comes back through to Eriksson, who goes long and gets it away for Chelsea. Sam Kerr picking up possession, holding off the defender as well, as Chelsea try and advance forward today. And Lauren James is in a foot race with Blundell on the right-hand side for Chelsea. Blundell beats her to it and gets the ball back to the goalkeeper. Here's Hayley Ladd for Manchester United, outside her own box. Letitia to Turner, back to Earps, clever play from Earps, back to Turner, back to Earps, short passing in their own box here from Manchester United, and they've beaten that Chelsea press with some fantastic football. 23 minutes into the FA Cup final, still 0-0 here, ball in the left-hand side as Russo is brought down to the ground. It'll be a Manchester United free kick, but I saw how impressed you were by that there, Helen.
Are we watching Barcelona-Chelsea again? What's going on? The passing out of the box is absolutely remarkable. Manchester United are playing with incredible confidence. What I was watching throughout the last few minutes is something that I think Mark Skinner's been working on, which is passing through those 2-3 lines of defence in one go. Maya Letitia makes such a difference to that back line because she doesn't just have the ability to sort of defend deep, the strength, the agility that she has, but she's able to pass it through dangerous lines and does really well with that. Manchester United are playing absolutely fantastically at the moment. You know, Chelsea on the attack now as I say this, but they have been absolutely brilliant.
We will have full commentary of the second half of Manchester City's trip to Everton, currently 2-0 up there at Goodison, the Blues. But right here we have the Women's FA Cup final where it is 0-0. Manchester United in some really good passages of play today, but Chelsea have the ball currently inside their own half. Ball comes in back to the defence now. There's Mjelde. Back to the goalkeeper, Berger. The captain, Eriksson, picking up possession. Twice Swedish Player of the Year, the Chelsea captain. Ball comes into the midfield to Leopolds. Keeps possession for Chelsea as she's closed down by Nikita Paris. Eriksson on the outside of her own box to the feet of Niamh Charles. Alessia Russo doing the closing down there. The furthest player forward for Manchester United is Paris. But Chelsea just enjoying a passage of possession currently, maybe trying to invite the Manchester United press. But United being calm and being patient. Berger needs to be careful with a touch, the goalkeeper. She is. And plays a lovely pass to the left-hand side. Chelsea looking a bit more calm on the ball. And that's a good ball over the top, looking for Sam Kerr. Too much on it in the end, though. Mary Earps there on just inside her own box, collecting for Manchester United. 0-0, 25 minutes in.
Yeah, that's why they're so dangerous, because they invited Onabate to basically push into the attacking third to try and press Niamh Charles, but her first touch is just so fantastic. Niamh Charles, she brings it down so quickly that before you know it, the attack's on and Sam Kerr's in on goal. A little bit less on that, and I think it probably would have been 1-0 Chelsea, because Sam Kerr doesn't miss when she's in a 1v1.
Ball comes down the right-hand side by Mary Earps. Russo challenges for the header. Winning it was Eriksson, and it goes out for a Manchester United throw-in right in front of the dugouts here. United going from left to right towards the Chelsea fans today at Wembley Stadium, a packed-out Wembley Stadium for the Women's FA Cup final. Both teams in their home strips. United red shirts, black shorts, black socks. Chelsea all blue with white socks. As United have another throw-in halfway inside the Chelsea half this time. Battier into the chest of Russo, who's brought down from behind. No free kick given, says the referee. United players weren't happy about that, and Chelsea can clear up. It's headed back towards the Chelsea box by Zellum, who picks it up as Chelsea try and build up themselves. Zellum back to the centre circle to Millie Turner. Zellum, United captain, back to Turner, just on the edge of the centre circle inside her own half. She's got Ella Toone on the far wing to the right if she wants to pick her out. Instead decides to go short to Letitia to her right. And Letitia will turn to her left and go back to Earps in between the sticks for Manchester United. Turner, left-footed pass to Letitia to her right-hand side. Letitia, forward pass into the feet of Ella Toone. Back to the Manchester United defender. Ella Toone looks up along the ground to Alessia Russo. It's a forward pass as Russo skips past the player to the left. Her pass is picked out by Lauren James, though, pretty easily. And goes back to her own goalkeeper, the former Manchester United winger, Lauren James. And Berger will take her time on the ball now for Chelsea. Mjelde coming short to collect for Chelsea. Back to the goalkeeper. Left hand goes in the air, pointing her teammates where to go. The ball does come down the left-hand side. Charles wins the header. Kerr has a good touch in front of Turner there, but Chelsea getting the ball back through Leopolds. Ball down the right-hand side now. Here she comes, Lauren James on the right, taking on Hannah Blundell again. She's had the beating of her once, and James is able to play a ball into the far post. Just a little bit too much on it there, and it goes out for a goal kick. We're 27 minutes into the FA Cup final. We're yet to see a goal.
Yeah, it's going to be really difficult and challenging down this right-hand side for Manchester United, where you've got the left-back and the left winger, you know, coming in from Chelsea. Niamh Charles sits so high on the pitch. It's almost like Nikita Paris. Do we want you coming a little bit deeper, maybe sitting deeper than Niamh Charles, or do you want to be, you know, an attacking option on the counter? And at the moment, it's really difficult because Onabate is having to manage Guro Wrighton, and she's doing a fantastic job of that. But she's almost being double manned by Niamh Charles, who's sitting so high. So a decision needs to be made there on what we do with Nikita Paris and whether she tucks in.
Mary Earps with the ball into the centre. Brilliant play there by Melanie Leopolds. She was surrounded by red shirts, but she rose higher than all of them and won the header. United managing to get possession back in the centre of the pitch now. And here's Blundell on the left. Nice little turn on the left-hand side by Leah Galton, but a Chelsea player is there to put it out for a throw-in on the far side. United going from left to right in this first half at Wembley Stadium. Currently 0-0 in the Women's FA Cup final. Blundell with the throw-in into the feet of Alessia Russo. She appeals for the throw-in herself. She gets it. Must have took a touch off Mjelde. She tried to spin the Chelsea defender on the left-hand side. So a United throw-in. Blundell to take. Into the feet of Galton. Galton fighting to keep the ball back for United. Can't quite keep it in play. So Chelsea will get a throw-in on the far side. 0-0 still in the FA Cup final. Manchester United have come the closest. And here's Nikita Paris, halfway inside the Chelsea half. Paris in central position to the right-hand side. Battier picks up the ball into the feet of Ella Toone. Back to Battier. Toone along the ground. Paris, maybe a judge just onside at the moment. Pokes one into Toon again, just a little bit too heavy. And Chelsea get the ball back, and that clearance was a bit heavy as well. And Zellum fights to get the ball back for Manchester United. She has got it here. Katie Zellum brought down. No free kick given. United are allowed to continue on the ball. They have to go backwards, though, as they're surrounded by blue shirts. Letitia on the halfway line, on the ball. Bit of remonstrating going on from Emma Hayes, the Chelsea manager there. Ball over the top from Letitia. It looks promising, but Paris won't get near that and won't keep it in play. And it'll go out for a goal kick harmlessly. Remains 0-0.
Yeah, I think that Zellum's a right to be quite annoyed here because they're, 30 yards out, decent position, to the right of the goal. And for me, she is taken down, and it's not it's not an opportunity to keep play going on. The ball goes backwards to Letitia back at centre-back position, and I'm thinking the referee needs to call it here because it's a pretty decent opportunity to get going with.
Chelsea playing the ball around their defence now with Eriksson. Niamh Charles on the left-hand side, closed down by Paris, but skipping round her on the left. Great play from Charles. That wasn't so great, though. Gave it straight to the feet of Hayley Ladd, who pokes it on to Katie Zellum as United try and keep possession. Zellum puts it down the right-hand side, but was fouled just before she released that pass. It was by Cuthbert in the middle. So Manchester United get the free kick just inside the Chelsea half.
Zellum seems to be getting frustrated with the referee, and I think it's probably something along the lines of, I'm glad you brought your whistle with you, ref, because there's been a few of those where they've not been big tackles, but opportunities for a set piece for Manchester United, and they love a set piece. So it's just something that Zellum's just reminding the referee, use your whistle, make the small calls as well as the big challenges.
Here comes the Manchester United free kick, then it's just to the right of the centre circle. And it will be Letitia who's going to take it as a Mexican wave erupts around Wembley. I won't be joining in. Letitia. Ball comes into the box. Could be a United player on the end of it. Oh, it's all over the place in the box. Big deflection. Big save. Chelsea keep it out. Just. What a chance. They've tried to clear down the left-hand side. Can they get the ball away in the end? They can. The clearance came off Una Battier in the end. It was Alessia Russo causing all sorts of problems in the box for Chelsea. But it still remains 0-0. What a save from Berger.
I actually think it was Millie Turner that ended up getting the scuff shot on it, and that's what it was, a scuff shot. I don't think it was the best goal, best save in the world by Ann Katzenberger, but it was one of these situations where you don't want your centre-back on the end of that in the penalty area. You want to have the Russos or the Toons of this world on the end of it, because she scuffs it off her shin, and she's got her head in her hands now, like, oh, that was it. That was the moment. She just didn't quite put enough on it and took 2 deflections on the way through to the goalkeeper before being kicked away by Erin Cuthbert.
The 2 blonde ponytails.
It gets confusing, doesn't it?
Causing complications for me at a set piece.
Do you know where I'm getting confused? Letitia and Anna Battier almost running the same way, their hair's in the same ponytail. For goodness sake. If they could differentiate just for us commentary folk, that would be fantastic.
Well, there's 2 players currently down for Chelsea, so the 2 teams are taking this stoppage in play to go towards their own dugouts, towards their own technical areas, as Skinner and Hayes both bark instructions at their side. Berger, the Chelsea goalkeeper, is currently down, as is the captain, Magdalena Eriksson. Both receiving treatment following that Manchester United set piece, as Millie Turner, I would have said an unlikely goal scorer, but she has scored some big goals this season. She almost had a chance there with that scuffed strike of putting United 1-0 up in the FA Cup final. We're around 12 minutes away from half-time.
I mean, Manchester girl, Wilmslow born and bred. I think it would have been probably the highlight of her entire career if she had scored the opener at Wembley for Manchester United. So, yeah, I can see that she was super frustrated there. But my goodness, Manchester United have been knocking on the door far more than Chelsea. I don't think, even from a neutral perspective, there's anyone that could deny that this has been Manchester United's half. They need to put a goal away, though, because Chelsea just need one opportunity. And they've got the best striker in the world at the other end who can cause major problems.
Watching that Manchester United set piece again there, it looks like a really good block by Maren Mjelde in the Chelsea defence. She blocked Turner's strike. And it actually could have made the save more difficult for Berger, but she did manage to keep it out in the end. Chelsea go long with the throw-in down the left-hand side. Battier pokes it back on for Manchester United. There's a little foul by the ever-energetic Ella Toon. She's giving away a Chelsea free kick now inside their own half.
I think Chelsea are getting frustrated because Manchester United stand on it every single time there's a free kick.
Yeah, 0-0 here in the Women's FA Cup final, and right now on FM and DAB we will hand over to Mike Miney for the second half commentary of Everton versus Manchester City.
Guys, thank you. Players back out, ready for the second half. Looks like Everton are going to bring on Neil Maupay in the second half. Just trying to see who's it for. I think it's a Dominic Calvert-Lewin, isn't it? So whether he picks up a strain in the opening first half. Of course, City some problems at times. Did Dominic Calvert-Lewin? He's not resumed for the second half. Manchester City unchanged. So Edison in goal for the Blues. Walker, Akanji, Diaz and Laporte back for Rodri and Gundogan, who scored the first goal for City. Mahrez, Alvarez and Foden. And Erling Haaland, who got the second for Manchester City, who lead by 2-0. Haven't seen the board go up, but Everton do get us underway with Neil Maupay beginning the proceedings, and the Everton fan sat behind me isn't wrong at all in that suggestion of we have no aerial threat up front. He's just said. Dominic Calvert-Lewin off, Neil Maupay on. Long clearance by Pickford. Here is Iwobi battling, but battling too hard, and it is a free kick to Manchester City just away from the edge of their own penalty area. So Sean Dyche changes things at half-time. No movement from the Manchester City bench. Everton, royal blue shirts, white shorts, white socks, right to left. Attacking the Gladys Street end away to our left-hand side in this second half, and Manchester City in those third strips, which really, for the amount of times they've actually worn their away strip this season, this should just have been given as the away strip. It is the highlighter green shirts with a thick navy stripes across the chest, navy shorts and highlighter green socks to match. It is Mahrez right across the edge of the D. Iwobi clears it forward. Diaz didn't have any intention for the ball there, just clipped Neil Maupay with his shoulder. Back it goes to Edison. And it is an interesting one. Fred Eyre, former City player, alongside me here on BBC Radio Manchester and BBC Sounds this afternoon, that Calvert-Lewin's gone out. You only have to assume it is a knock.
Certainly, because he is really the only real threat that Everton posed in the first half. He wasn't their best player, as I alluded to during the half. Dwight McNeil was the best, second best and third best player, all rolled into one. But in terms of a spearhead, he's a completely different kettle of fish. Maupay on. It's not worked out for him so far here, but it can only be, in my opinion, a downgrade, just as if it was a tactical substitution. So I can only assume that there's maybe an occurrence of the injury that has kept Dominic Calvert-Lewin out for so long. So yeah, I think it'll be a little something like that.
Neil Maupay, 1 goal in 25 Premier League appearances for Everton. That came all the way back in September. Edison, under a little bit of pressure from Decore, just sends it down the middle nicely for Alvarez, marked closely by James Tarkowski. Mahrez, Walker, back to Ruben Diaz, just away from his own penalty area. Actually stands on the ball trying to control it there. Ruben Diaz gets away with it. Doesn't, because Holgate heads it into the path of Alvarez on the halfway line, and now Foden comes forward. Manchester City have 5 clear. That's going to be a foul. Garner takes out Foden on the edge of the penalty area. Yellow card for James Garner, the former Manchester United man. And it's going to be a free kick to Manchester City, 20 yards from goal, left-hand side of the D.
I think the modern phrase is took one for the team. Shocking header from Mason Holgate. Set City in good possession, and it was only a last-ditch effort by James Garner illegally that brought the move to a halt. Not his fault, but he's the one that's going to take the booking.
So free kick to Manchester City. Alvarez, Mahrez, Gundogan over that. And Manchester City can look for a third goal in this game, which would really set them comfortable and really say to Arsenal, over to you. 4 points clear, Manchester City would be.
It's a good angle for Mahrez' left foot. Gundogan, any foot. Alvarez, right foot. Kyle Walker's been putting his 2 penneth in, but very wisely, he's walking away from the scene of the crime.
Yeah, looking back towards the halfway line where Edison stands. Arsenal's final 3 games, Brighton, and the next Saturday night against Nottingham Forest. Manchester City play next Sunday against Chelsea at home. It could be a title party for Manchester City. 4.5 minutes into the second half. This free kick is taking a long time to sort out here, a ridiculously long time, considering there isn't much pushing and shoving. I think Everton players are slightly unhappy that Manchester City players are stood in front of them, but that is their decision. It's down to Mahrez, Gundogan to send it past the Man City players, past the Everton players, and past Jordan Pickford. Big wall to get past, but it's all tactical. Strange one, this one. Anyway, let's see what happens. Gundogan or Mahrez, right or left foot. 5 minutes into this second half. Could be the perfect start to the second half for Manchester City. Gundogan! Oh! What a goal from İlkay Gundogan! Well, if he is saying farewell at the end of the season, he's signing off in style. It's a brace for a second weekend in a row. Perfect free kick, past the walls, past Pickford, into the left-hand side of the goal, and City remain top of the Premier League for yet another weekend. They are 2 wins from the title. Everton 0, Manchester City 3.
Well, this is becoming the İlkay Gundogan show. A wonderful goal for himself, an assist for Erling Haaland, and a beautifully stroked free kick from 20 yards that left the England goalkeeper just clawing at thin air. He might as well have just stood still and admired it as it floated into the top corner. But fair play to Pickford. To quote Steve Fleet, ex-Manchester City goalkeeper and good friend of mine, you're always entitled to a dive, and that is just what we got from Jordan Pickford. Not a hope of getting anywhere near it, but he still treated us to a dive.
And now Pickford's in trouble. Heavy touch. His clearance hits the back of Haaland. Tarkowski trying to get in the way. This is Rodri. İlkay Gundogan for the second week in a row. He's on for a hat-trick here for Manchester City, who lead by 3-0. He ran over to that far side where the City fans have a third of the stand on the far side of the field. 2 tiers, they occupy that. Their arms are aloft. He ran across with his arms stretched out wide, almost as if ready to embrace every single one of them. 3-0 to Manchester City. 2 goals for İlkay Gundogan, and top spot tonight for the Blues. Here is Alvarez, Haaland, lovely touch in towards İlkay Gundogan. That ball that just slowed as it got to the penalty spot. It was the most deftest of touches for Haaland, who wanted to set him up for his hat-trick. Holgate allows Mahrez to get round the outside of him, brings him down, free kick edge of the penalty area.
As we've alluded to on many occasions during this 52 minutes, Mason Holgate again. Oh my goodness me. Sold himself at first with Haaland, hopelessly out of distance with his tackle, chased after him, hauled him down embarrassingly again, put him out of his misery.
Well, last week Everton had a +4 goal difference against Brighton, and you never know how crucial that might be at the end of the season. They're 3-0 down here though. That negates some of that, and one more for Manchester City would cancel it all out, all their hard work undone. Sean Dyche wanted to see how his side responded after success. Not very well is the answer at the moment. 8 second half minutes gone. Does Gundogan fancy another go here?
It's got to be Mahrez from this angle, but who can deny İlkay Gundogan the opportunity?
Yeah, it's
the 2 men are over the ball as usual.
20 yards from goal, right-hand side of the penalty area, if you will, just infield from the corner. Mahrez jogs on the spot, left-footed from him, clatters into the wall, goes to the back post, and it's away on the slide by James Garner, out for a corner on the far side.
Yeah, pressure from Manchester City. This second half is not in any way like it was in the first half, where they were just content to try and break the opposition down. There's going to be 2 substitutions. Conor Cody, things must be bad if Sean Dyche has made his intentions perfectly clear from coming to the club. He's never used Conor Cody, great player though I think he is, but he's going to try and bring him on to stem the tide here.
Corner short, Onana's also coming on. Haaland rises back post with the cross that came in, but it's behind for a goal kick. So Amadou Onana also coming on here for Everton, the Belgian. £34 million summer signing from Lille. He replaces Idrissa Gana Gueye, and Conor Cody, no surprise, replaces Mason Holgate, the left back. So it will be a defensive reshuffle, but look at it, Everton fans are on their feet but sarcastically applauding Mason Holgate off. That's when you know things are tough.
Yeah, it'd be nice if I thought that the fans were applauding Conor Cody on, but I think you're right. They're applauding the man who's going off. Hopefully for Dwight McNeil, he'll be able to just concentrate on his own performance. Now that these extra players have come on, Conor Cody in particular, he'll bring some semblance of order to the back line, if nothing else.
Onana will bring a bit of fight to the field. He's got a remarkable yellow card rate this season, 13 in 38 games this season for club and country, yellow card wise.
Well, the manager must be impressed with the job that Dwight McNeil has done in this game, because he's switched him to left back permanently now.
I'm feeling he played there a bit under Dyche at Burnley, Dwight McNeil, so it might not be all too strange for him. Everton are 3-0 down here against Manchester City, who look in control, but the ball will come into the penalty area and run past Neal Maupay, and Kyle Walker is able to see it away and past Dwight McNeil, and then darts infield himself on a little mazy run. Here is Haaland. Oh, Haaland's ball is just behind Walker, who would have been through and racing in on the Everton goal. This is Maupay, edge of the penalty area, can't shape to shoot. Decore on the D, just has a look around and has to turn back, but he keeps the ball for Everton. 11 second half minutes gone. Everton 0, Manchester City 3. Pep Guardiola's heaviest defeat here was 4-0. His heaviest defeat ever as a manager. Could he get revenge finally on Everton with the same scoreline? He stands. Black roll neck jumper with his sleeves pulsed right up above his elbows. And now he crouches down on one knee as McNeil sends a ball in, left-hand side. The near for Everton, it runs all the way to the far side. It will be a City goal kick. Pep Guardiola was momentarily concerned there. I don't think Everton carry the same threat that they did in the first half now into the second half, Fred.
Well, for any team really, Dominic Calvert-Lewin would be a talisman, somebody you could rely on if there was an opportunity to score a goal. He would inevitably take it. So he's a big miss for Everton.
Tarkowski.
I think we'll have that as a dummy from James Tarkowski. I don't think he meant it.
Nice footwork from Iwobi. Maupay. Back to Iwobi. Here's Onana. Onana with a right-footed drifted ball out towards the far side. Controlled well by Garner up against Manuel Akanji. Laid back. Cross comes in. Poorly from Yerry Mina. Headed out to the far side by James Garner as the ball drops down from the skies on the clearance. Here's Tarkowski. He's going to scoop it up out towards the left. The ball bending away from Dwight McNeil, who won't be able to race down the line as he wants to. Kyle Walker makes sure he's aware that he's there. Now Onana, Iwobi again. Onana's continued to run as the ball is fed round Alvarez. Cross comes in. Well, it's giving the Everton fans hope. It's mission impossible at 3-0 down, but corner near side to the Toffees now. James Garner will take.
Well, it's a little bit late, obviously, 3 goals down, but Conor Cody has already brought a little bit of extra order defensively, and I think Everton can possibly build from there. But he's been pulling players around, as Conor Cody does, but the sensible alterations that he's making on the field, and he should be a big asset to the manager, really, but he's just not been used. But he's only been on a few minutes, but he's making his influence count.
And whilst Fred was talking there, Everton took the corner, bent in by McNeil on the second phase of play here. Here's Decore. Manchester City did make a meal of the initial clearance. He's now drifted out towards the near side from Everton. It will be a throw-in to the home side in this game. At half-time at the FA Cup final, Women's FA Cup final, Chelsea 0, Manchester United women 0. Rodri will try and break. Haaland across the halfway line. He's racing into the Everton half. Squares it left-footed to Rodri, who wants to release in. Phil Foden left-hand side. Haaland will stand at the back post. Haaland acrobatically swings at the ball on the volley, on the spin, and it's away by Everton. Let's get a half-time update then from Wembley. Chelsea 0, United 0. Gaz Drinkwater.
Yeah, Manchester United will have had a very, very promising half-time team talk, because that was a really promising first half for United. Huge chances for Galton and Turner. Galton had the ball in the back of the net in the first 30 seconds. Adjudged to be offside, but a really good first half from United. However, unable to convert the chances so far. Half-time, Chelsea 0, United 0.
Big second half coming up. It will start on the BBC Sport website and app when we're done here at Goodison Park as we hit the hour mark bang on. We will be going to Wembley for the second half of the second half, you imagine. 39,376 packed into Goodison Park this afternoon. Long ball down the left-hand side for Dwight McNeil. Everton right to left in the second half. Here is Iwobi, edge of the penalty area, slides it on through for Morpay. Laporte across the cover. It will come to McNeil, who sends it in at the back post. Patterson was arriving, as was Foden. And Manchester City's number 47 does the job. Everton 0, Manchester City 3. Leicester are leading Sale 6-0 at the moment in Rugby Union's Premiership semi-final. That's also on the BBC Sport website and app. Later, second half commentary of that to come from the AJ Bell Stadium. Sale's first home Premiership semi-final in 17 years, and 17 years ago they won Rugby Union's Premiership, the only time they've won it. Can they match the achievements of 2006, Alex Sanderson's side? Here is Tarkowski, McNeil. Lovely little casual left-footed pass down the channel into Alex Iwobi. He's a good 10 yards away from the penalty area here. Everton 0, City 3. Tarkowski, right-footed, will drift it out towards the far side. Akanji will get ahead to it. Not the most convincing out for an Everton throw far side.
No, it wasn't quite what he expected. It resulted in a throw into Everton unnecessarily. Only a blip. He's doing quite well. Patterson took the throw in, and it's him on the ball now trying to get a cross in.
Everton beats Arsenal back in February. Only Manchester United, particularly with Everton 3-0 down here, remain the only side to have been able to beat Arsenal and Everton this season. Sorry, Arsenal and Manchester City this season. Here's Akanji, turns out towards the left-back position. Absolutely clattered into by Abdoulaye Doucouré. So free kick to Manchester City deep inside their own half. The sun starts to emerge from what has been largely thick grey cloud this afternoon. No rain, mild afternoon on Merseyside. And finally we see a bit of sun.
Yeah, the ball's free kicks lazily taken by Laporte. No need to worry, no need to bother. That's the message he's sending out to Diaz across the face of the penalty area. He plays it back to him. Slow build up to Rodri in midfield, and off we go again. Everton, every player behind the ball, as you would expect.
Akanji just on the halfway line. Here's Diaz, Rodri, Laporte. Walking pace this for Manchester City, who will now, surely, Fred, try and conserve energy. A big game coming up on Wednesday night.
It's going to be a long half an hour, I think, for the Everton players. They could be chasing shadows on Goodison for the next, for the foreseeable future.
Foden attacking the left corner of the penalty area, goes towards the byline, double deflection. Firstly off Patterson, then off Foden again, and it will be a Everton goal kick away to our right-hand side. The Toffees right to left in this second half. Royal blue shirts, white shorts, white socks. Pickford spins it out to this near side. Dwight McNeil gets it on the chest, but Pickford's kicking has been off today, and that was difficult for Dwight McNeil.
Yeah, it's one of his strong points, really. I mean, even one that he got hold of well, it went the full length of the field and landed in the hands of Edison, which is quite hard to believe, but he managed to accomplish that. His kicking has actually been erratic. That's what it's been.
So City throw near side there right. Kyle Walker had looked back towards the halfway line, then changed direction, trying to catch out the Everton players. They didn't catch out there. Connor Cody, the substitute. Here is Garner on the edge of his own penalty area, central position, out towards the far side. 3-0 in Manchester City's favour this game. As Garner goes long, nice ball over towards this left-hand side. Long ball over the top, but McNeil can go nowhere. Just comes in on the halfway line. He couldn't go down the channel as he wanted to. Johnny Stones is the chant from Manchester City fans on that far side as he goes for his warm-up by the corner flag on this near left-hand side. Walker's header infield, only gives it to Dwight McNeil. Everton could get a chance here as a shot comes in from McNeil. Rather desperately hits Ruben Diaz, bounces out for a corner on this near side.
Yeah, they're not in too much of a hurry. James Garner's trotting across to take it, but McNeil's head's down, shouldn't be. Cody's trying to arrange things in the penalty area, and but generally speaking, they look a little bit depleted, Everton, as you would expect, to be fair.
Corner near side then to Everton. Garner again on the taking duty, swings it in towards the back post. Oh, Edison, wow, punched it, wanted it to exit the penalty area. It came off the rear of his fist and's gone behind for another corner.
It might have been the fact that Jerry Mean had forgot about the ball and just hurled himself in the general direction of Edison. That might have had something to do with it, really, but the referee has let that go.
A corner far side, which Dwight McNeil will now take in swinging delivery in towards the 6-yard box. Oh, headers up off the crossbar. Where's it dropping? Roof of the net. Another corner. I think Edison might have got a fingertip on that as Decore was the man, I think, to rise highest. Another corner.
Yeah, three giants there. Decore, Mina and Tarkowski. Surely one of them was going to get their head on that ball, and sure enough, one of them did. Brought a save from Edison, which he punched up over the bar.
McNeil's delivery in again. Heads go up and down and over the bar.
Same again. Mina's climbing all over everybody. The players are complaining. Referee Anthony Taylor looks there, stands there defiantly. Won't have anything to do with it, but I can understand where the City players are coming from. No player can get that high without a lift up on someone's shoulders. Ruben Diaz is trying to explain this to Anthony Taylor, but as you would expect, he's having none of it.
Oh, just waves the ball forward for Manchester City. 3-0 up on Everton on Merseyside. A ground they for so long didn't enjoy coming to, and now how the tides have turned in Manchester City's favour. They're on course for their 6th Premier League win in a row here at Goodison Park. Everton's longest losing run in the top flight against single opponents at home is Portsmouth, which was also 5, 1948 to 1956. Manchester City, who just break records for fun these days. Sometimes they're obscure, sometimes they mean a little bit more. Walker and Haaland combine on the back heels. It doesn't quite come off for Kyle Walker. Midway through this second half, Everton 0, Manchester City 3. Sale have now gone in front against Leicester in the Premiership semi-final. Again, starting the commentary of that one on the BBC Sport website and app this afternoon. Sale 7, Leicester 6. Sharks versus Tigers. Pick your winner. Here's Gundogan. Kanji, left-hand side of the field, the far side for Manchester City, who are left to right in this second half. If you are watching on the TV, left and right will be switched around. The TV cameras on the far side of the field. This is Gundogan. Laporte to Diaz. Diaz to Rodri, edge of the centre circle. Manuel Akanji. City against Real Madrid Wednesday night, BBC Radio Manchester. The build-up on BBC Sounds too, so you can take us with you on the way to the game. Phone on the left-hand side. Can he hook across in around 2 Everton players? Not quite. He's back and out of play for a goal kick to Everton. With you from 7 o'clock, myself and City women's defender Esme Morgan for that one. Can Manchester City reach the Champions League final for the second time in their history, the second time in 3 years? 1-1 after the first leg, and he's perfectly set for a big night at the Etihad Stadium. We're with you. We're talking balls from 6 o'clock live from outside the Etihad Stadium. You can join Emily Brobin outside the Etihad to have your say pre-match. Then we go inside the Etihad from 7 o'clock to build up to a fantastic night of football. Everton forward, heavy touch from Decore as Everton peeled away 2 players to the left-hand side in Iwobi and McNeil. Heavy touch from Decore lets them down at the crucial moment and gifts Manchester City a way back in.
Yeah, but they've given the ball away. Rodri, a little bit loose. Everton are back in possession. Giving their fans a little bit of hope.
In the centre circle. Is that just because Everton are... City have kind of relaxing now, pulled up a little bit?
Like it was, but we must keep the standards up.
And that's certainly what Pep Guardiola will want. Do you think the Arsenal players will be at the Emirates watching this or knowing this is happening now, or will it be full focus from them on their own game and just worry about beating Brighton?
I'm not suggesting they're all sat in the lounge having a look, but they'll certainly be aware of what's going on and the score, etc.
And psychologically, then they've got to get over that because they'll be deflated. They're 4 points behind before they've even kicked a ball.
Yeah, but I'm sure they're capable of doing that. They're top-class team of professionals, Arsenal, and Arteta's a thorough professional in everything that he does.
20 minutes left in this game. If any side knows how to beat Brighton, it is Everton, winning 5-1 there last week. Everton player goes down far side, in Mope, and the linesman has given Manchester City, the free kick there on the touchline on the far side. He has, you know.
No, surely not.
And Everton fans were not impressed. Yeah, free kick, Kyle Walker to take it. Manuel Akanji to take it. Rodri jogs forward to the halfway line. Everton 0, Manchester City 3.
That was a bizarre decision, which has upset the Everton fans, but on we go with the game. Can't understand that decision.
Well, just coming together, wasn't it, really? That's how it looked. City on course for a 16th win in 18 matches. Their last 18 matches, they've drawn twice away in the Champions League against Real Madrid on Tuesday night, and then Bayern Munich in the other Champions League game, quarter-final, second leg in Munich. They've won 10 Premier League games in a row before today since drawing at Forest in mid-February. How things changed from there for Manchester City. How things clicked. Diaz, centre circle. 3-0 Manchester City. Rodri, Walker to the near side for Riyad Mahrez. Reminder at half-time it is Chelsea 0, Manchester United 0 in the Women's FA Cup final at Wembley. Commentary of that not far away for the start of the second half. Here's Rodri from Manchester City, who just won a free kick inside their own half. Nothing too sinister. Substitution being readied by Everton. Demarai Gray preparing to come on. He scored the equaliser for Everton at the Etihad Stadium in the 1-1 draw. Christmas time. Surprised many people that day. It was a dominant City display, but let themselves down. They weren't in a good patch back then. Akanji's cross in. He's too powerful from the left-hand side. Runs away to this near side touchline. It will be an Everton throw-in. So Demarai Gray is where Sean Dyche turns to. Manchester City. They're nearly raising the fact that Manchester City haven't made a substitution in this game. Bernardo Silva is going to come on for the Blues. He's stripped off and ready to come on. Last minute instructions from one of the coaches down in the technical area. Everton back in their own corner. Near side, Tarkowski clears out towards the far side there right. Here's Yerry Mina, former Barcelona player. Far cry from the new camp. And the situation Barcelona find themselves in. So here at Goodison Park, and the situation Everton find themselves in. Still Brentford lead by 2-0. They nearly had a third. West Ham thought they got one back. Sorry, 2-1. But it was ruled out for handball. Here's Dwight McNeil, tiring legs, left-hand side up against Kyle Walker, who still has the momentum in his favour. 16 minutes left of this game. Mahrez, lovely work on the touchline. He dragged the ball under his feet on the back heel, stops it going out for a throw-in to Everton. And now Gundogan can release Mahrez on the return on the right-hand side, and Haaland's giving everything to get in the box. Mahrez sets it in with the delivery, and Patterson does enough, and then Pickford is all over the back of Haaland, brings down the Norwegian and gives the referee a decision to make. He says no penalty. Now Everton want their players to come forward. VAR can look at it. VAR this evening. Craig Pawson. Iwobi challenge. Referee waves him up. Rodri's gone down off the ball.
Casualties all over the pitch here.
I think referee Pep Guardiola is saying kick it out of play to Manuel Akanji, which he does. So decisions to be made here with VAR. Possible penalty on Haaland. What was your view of that, Freda?
I think he bundled him over. It was a collision, and obviously I'll just take the referee's opinion, because he was so close. He couldn't have been better placed, but it was a collision between Pickford and Haaland, and he is clumsy, Jordan Pickford, in situations when he's under that kind of pressure, as opposed to shot stopping, etc. He can be a little bit irrational, but Haaland certainly looked confident enough with his appeal.
Well, Everton made their substitution. James Garner replaced by Damari Gray. And then Bernardo Silva didn't come on there for Manchester City. Still Pep Guardiola is talking to him. So Everton have taken their throw in far side, giving it back to Manchester City, who cleared it out of play following the foul on Rodri. City lead 3-0 with 14 minutes to go in this game. Another crucial step towards the Premier League title for Manchester City. Laporte.
Grealish as well.
That's maybe why Pep Guardiola was waiting. He wanted to do the change at the same time, the double switch. It is Kyle Walker giving it to Mahrez, but McNeil steals in, wins the ball back for Everton. This is Onana down the middle for Decore. Gray will turn on the ball. There's a racing run on that far side from Patterson. Damari Gray, right corner of the penalty area, lays it back, and here's Onana for Everton. Still bringing the ball in field from the right, lays it square for McNeil. Corner of the left now of the penalty area for Iwobi. Iwobi right-footed, swings it in. It might drop for Onana, will it? No, kindly for Akanji, who can quickly adjust his feet and send it out for a throw-in on the far side.
Yeah, it was a rampaging run from Patterson, as you said. What we didn't really appreciate at the time was the equally rampaging run to catch him up from Foden, race back 50 yards into a defensive position. So he's not only good going forward, he's prepared to put the graft in as well. Foden, excellent.
Well, he didn't have the obvious chance for a hat-trick, Ilkay Gundogan, today. 2 of the 3 goals for Manchester City have come from him. He's now being replaced, so still has to wait for that first professional hat-trick. No penalty missed this time. So he is off, and Bernardo Silva in his place, and Erling Haaland will go off as well. He's got the other of Manchester City's 3 goals. Goal number 52 in all competitions this season for Manchester City. Jack Grealish on in his place. I wonder if Erling Haaland will drive past Dixie Dean's statue a little bit later on, and just wonder, in the remaining 3 Premier League games, a Champions League semi-final with Real Madrid, an FA Cup final with Manchester United, just wonder whether he could get 63 goals or more this season. 11 to go.
Well, not if he's going to keep getting taken off at half-time and in the middle of the second half of games. I'm convinced that if that hadn't have happened, but of course it's a team game, as we know, that he'd completed a few more games. I think he'd have done it relatively comfortably, to be fair.
52 from 48 in his first season in English football is not bad at all. He won the Football Writers Association Player of the Year award.
So now we've got Alvarez leading the line in place of Haaland. Foden moved inside to a position that he enjoys, and Jack's come out and in his usual position wide on the left.
Alvarez just stopped in his tracks by Cody, put his arms all over him. Referee deems that fair. I'm not sure whether the ball would have gone over Alvarez anyway. 12 minutes left of this second half. Manchester City in control. Erling Haaland, 82% of the votes, by the way, in that Football Writers Player of the Year award. No man has ever had more votes than Erling Haaland, or such a comprehensive victory. Here is Grealish. As he tackles there by Damari Gray on the far side. Doesn't matter, Manchester City throw-in. Sam Kerr won the Women's Football Writers Association Player of the Year, by the way. Second time in a row for her, and the first player ever to do that, incidentally. So congratulations to her, as Chelsea are now currently taking on Manchester United women in the FA Cup final at Wembley Stadium. Commentary on the BBC Sport website and app will be there as soon as this game is done on BBC Radio Manchester. And then when the FA Cup final is done, we're off to the Premiership semi-final. Sale Sharks leading Leicester Tigers 7-6 at the minute. You can catch that right now on the BBC Sport website and app. Same for Lancashire against Somerset in the cricket, by the way. McNeil heads it back. Do you know what? For the difficult challenge he's had to face today, Dwight McNeil, he's probably been the shining light of Everton.
He has. If Gundogan hadn't have been so brilliant, even though his side is going to lose at least 3-0, if anybody had said McNeil was the man of the match, I wouldn't argue with them, to be honest. That's not something normal, but that has been the case today.
7 goals he's got in 33 games for Everton. Dwight McNeil, 4 in his last 5. The 7 goals in 33 games are as many as he got for Burnley in 134 matches. So for his career, he will certainly deem that as a good move. But at the same time, will he be swapping places with Burnley in the Premier League next season? Will Everton survive? They have been ever present in the Premier League, Everton. And it's 30-year history. That is in jeopardy this season. They're 1 point above the drop zone as it stands. Leeds, Leicester and Southampton are all in the drop zone as it stands at the moment. That could go to the final day. Don't discount teams like Everton and West Ham. West Ham losing 2-1 at Brentford at the minute. And it's Bernardo Silva for Manchester City, 10 yards inside the Everton half, to the left of the centre circle. City left to right in this second half, attacking the Sir Philip Carter Park stand. If you are aware of Goodison Park, and it's 3 stands. The stand on the far side conjoins with the stand on the behind the goal to our left-hand side. 2 tiers with the iron holdings, the iron pillars, the corrugated metal roof. We're in the main stand here behind the dugouts. 3-tiered stand, big one as well. Nearly 40,000 inside Goodison Park, although slowly I think that number is reducing. Looking to my left-hand side, I think some Everton fans have given up any slim hope they had with 8 minutes left to go. Cody has to clear that, does to the far side from inside his own penalty area, under pressure from Julian Alvarez. This is Yerry Mina. Patterson. He's 5 at the back from Everton, isn't it? He's still with Mina on the ball now, just jogging towards the edge of the centre circle. Not long left at Goodison Park in the time of the match today, but also in history here at Goodison Park. Everton moving to the docks. Not ready for next season. The season after, new surroundings. Here's Pickford. Will not miss this press box when Everton do move, I can tell you that. Cramped in, one leg sticking out of the box. Here's Rodri to Aymeric Laporte. This game done a long time ago, Fred Air, so Manchester City are now conserving energy. They don't need to put any energy into this game.
No, and they're just letting Everton do all the running, which is hard to do when you're 3-0 down at home in the relegation places. Tough place to be here today for Everton and the supporters. Supporters are trying to get behind them as often and as much as they can, but it took a turn with Ilkay Gundogan, all within the space of 5 minutes.
Could get better here for Manchester City. Rodri breaks away across the halfway line, needs an option, chips it out to the left. He's asking the world of Grealish, who might have fresh legs, but even that was very ambitious, and out of play it goes for an Everton goal kick. Poor really on the break.
I don't think that was an actual missed kick. I actually think he was chipping that. You don't usually chip that. It just shows you. I bet if that had been 0-0, he wouldn't have chipped it. When you're so comfortable during a game, players do decide to do little things that they're doing, that they'd like to do in matches. And here's one. This is a good time to try it. And instead of doing the normal, simple thing like they all do so well.
I think I'd rather than try it at 3-0 up than at 1-0 down to somebody. City against Real Madrid on Wednesday night in the Champions League semi-final, second leg.
See, Laporte has just been stood, not moved, and just caressed the ball with each of his boots, all the studs of his boots, at least 6 times. That shouldn't happen during a football match.
Walker goes long, Mahrez will challenge, hits the back of Mahrez, wrestling with Dwight McNeil. Now McNeil merges towards the halfway line. Onana just stood still, and McNeil very nearly ran into him and managed to avoid him. Alvarez, I think, had also slid in for the challenge. Here's Onana, and towards the far side. Gray might attack the Manchester City penalty area here. He's only midway inside the Manchester City half, though, on the right, the far side for Everton. In those royal blue shirts, Calvin Phillips is going to get some minutes in a moment for Manchester City. The £42 million summer signing from Leeds, who has barely even seen 42 minutes in a Manchester City shirt.
This is a bit early for him, isn't it?
Yeah, he usually doesn't see the pitch until we're into stoppage time, as Akanji does well there. Stops Patterson's run. Patterson will be happy. He's got a corner on the far side to Everton, which they take quick. They're not going to give Manchester City time to set themselves defensively, but Gray can't get the corner in, and it's wasted from an Everton perspective for now. Gray back towards the far side. Header goes up from Tarkowski, spins in the air. Tarkowski will be the first to react to it out on the right-hand side. He scored the winner against Arsenal in Sean Dyche's first game in charge. James Tarkowski, lovely ball back through by Iwobi, laid back to McNeil. He can create something, moves away to the left-hand side of the box, lays a low ball in, and it's easily away by Diaz, but Rodri, and a bit sloppy there. Mahrez just allowed Everton to get back in, but then Dwight McNeil was the one flat-footed, and Foden can clear it up to the midway point of City's half.
Yeah, desperate defending, in depth though, lots of bodies back there for Manchester City. Everton just couldn't find a way through.
Onana back to the halfway line. Chelsea 0, Manchester United 0 in the Women's FA Cup will be there at the conclusion of this game. We've got 3.5 minutes left of normal time. Here is Damari Gray. Step over to the edge of the penalty area. McNeil, left-footed cross in. It's a good one. It was inviting, but McNeil, Maupay only gave it half an effort, and no one else was in there.
Yeah, it was minimum half an effort as well. Minimal half an effort.
Goodison Park is emptying, and at some rate of knots as well. Rodri off, Phillips on. I think that's pretty obvious when you see Phillips on the side. It is like for like. He gets a low 5 from Riyad Mahrez. And Rodri has a look over to the City fans in the kind of northeast section of the ground from where we're sat, over 2 tiers. A third of the stand on the far side that runs the full length of the pitch. And at his own pace, Rodri can walk off, and Calvin Phillips will come on. 2.5 minutes left of this game on BBC Radio Manchester, BBC Sounds. Pep Guardiola's right-hand man, Manel Estiarte, heads down through the director's box. He'll be going pitch side in a moment. He'll always be around Pep when the post-match interviews are being conducted. Former water polo champion of Spain, Manel Estiarte. Laporte. Bernardo Silva. Manchester City keeping their heads well above water here. At the top of the Premier League, 4 points clear. Arsenal play Brighton at 4:30. Still Brentford 2, West Ham 1. Into the final 2 minutes And City have the ball on the far side. The left, Grealish is fouled by Patterson. Free kick to Manchester City. Fred Air.
Yeah, just a predictable end to this game. City just keeping possession, winning fouls on purpose, which again gives City possession of the ball, rolling it back to Edison, who in turn just rolls it out to Ruben Diaz. It must be painful for both sides ending games in like this, but it's sensible from City, and Everton just praying for the final whistle.
There will be 4 minutes of added time. That comes in a minute, so 5 minutes are left of this game. Here's Grealish approaching the penalty area, just slows up, lays it into the midfield, finds his England international teammate in Calvin Phillips. He plays a 1-2 with another England international in Kyle Walker, and another one in Phil Foden. Now it's the Algerian international of Riyad Mahrez on the right-hand side, the near for Manchester City. Back to Walker again. Halfway line, Ruben Diaz. Midway inside his own half under no challenge. Morpay walks up to him. And Diaz, just bored of having the ball at his feet, gives it to Aymeric Laporte, who gets towards the halfway line.
90 minutes on the clock. Sergio Gomez loosening up, awaiting the signal to go and join the fray.
It is the kind of feel City in control. They've done enough in this game, more than enough in this game. And Pep Guardiola will just give some other fringe players a chance at some minutes. That includes Calvin Phillips, who's out there now, and also for Sergio Gomez as the fourth official readies the board and confirms to those few that are left in Goodison Park at the minute there are 4 minutes of added time. Manchester City lead by 3-0. Here is Ruben Diaz. That is who Sergio Gomez is going to replace in a minute. Phillips, long ball towards this near side, the right. Mahrez, Iwobi is fouled. And it will be a free kick to Everton. Here's the confirmation. It is Diaz off and Sergio Gomez on. So what's Phil Foden? Good 90 minutes for him today, Fred, as well.
Yeah, and he's worked hard. He's got the most out of his minutes, if we can put it that way. He's worked hard in both directions. Obviously, we know and love the Phil Foden that receives the ball and heads off in the direction of the opposition goal. But there's been occasions today when Patterson has forsaken his defensive duties for Everton and gone rampaging down that line, and he's legged it after him, absolutely totally aware of his own responsibilities defensively. He doesn't need telling anymore, and he does it automatically, and it's added to his game. Hard work, but well worth it.
City leading by 3-0. Brentford 2-0 up on West Ham at the G-Tech Stadium. That's where Manchester City go on the final day of the season. Will it go to the final day of the season? As Everton struggle with the clearance again through Pickford. Laporte steals in, gets the better of Gray, and the frustration is there from Everton fans, audible, as their side give it away yet again into the second minute of the 4 that were added on. Manchester City 4 points clear of Arsenal in the race for the Premier League title. At least they can win it at the moment. Brighton away. It's half-time in the Rugby Union Premiership semi-final at the AJ Bell Stadium. Sale leading 7-6 against Leicester. Second half of that to come on. BBC Radio Manchester will be joining the concluding moments, or the second half of the second half, I should say, of Chelsea against Manchester United women in the FA Cup final at Wembley. Earlier today in the race for the Premier League, Coventry 0, Middlesbrough 0, by the way. This is Edison for Manchester City. Away from his own penalty area, Calvin Phillips is facing back towards his own goal, gives it to Edison. Cladded in maroon, sends the ball long. Grealish does well, wrestling up against Mina and holds him off as well. And it's a little ball in field from Foden, from Gomez to Bernardo Silva, back out of Grealish. Gomez has continued his run. Can City really seal it here? No, not with that pass from Grealish out towards the right-hand side. Just over a minute left. Here's Mahrez on the right for Manchester City. The near side, Tarkowski steals in.
Phillips nudges it back to Akanji on the halfway line. He returns the favour. Phillips on the ball into the centre circle. Bernardo Silva. Alex Iwobi gives chase, gives effort, the former Arsenal man. He might have hoped to have done his bit this afternoon for his former club, but no, far from. Here's Akanji. Well, Everton fans show their support for their club, whether the players are doing it or not. They trail 3-0. Here's Foden with a dart towards the penalty area. Ball spins out to the right-hand side. Mahrez gives chase. Goes up against Dwight McNeil. Mahrez to Walker, and the full-time whistle goes. One step closer to a third successive Premier League title for Manchester City. They need 2 more wins from their final 3 games. They have come to Goodison Park, notoriously difficult, tricky, traditional stadium, said Pep Guardiola. Well, they made easy work of Sean Dyche's side. 2 goals from Ilkay Gundogan. The first a fine finish. Turning on the edge of the 6-yard box and spinning, sending the ball into the bottom left-hand corner of the goal. His second goal wasn't bad either, actually, with a free kick from 20 yards out, sailed past Pickford, and in between Erling Haaland rose high from a header for goal number 52 of his season in a Manchester City shirt. It is job done, and convincingly so, as you would expect from a side going top of the table versus a side struggling to stay in the Premier League. But it's good enough for City, and it's Everton 0, Manchester City 3.
Yeah, another one chalked off as this season relentlessly moves to a close. City up to the job again. It looked a little bit difficult in the first in the first period of the games, where Everton made their intentions perfectly clear by operating most of the time with a back 6, and the other players conveniently patrolling just in front of them. City had to show a great degree of patience until they fathomed out a way to break it all down, and the man, not unnaturally, who managed to accomplish that before the others was Ilkay Gundogan, with a wonderfully taken goal of his own and an assist for the second goal, where he showed a little bit of vision and magic on the left-hand side, looked up and saw that Haaland was marked, but that doesn't matter. If he clipped the ball up accurately enough, it would still be good enough for Haaland to reach before the defender and power a header back past Pickford into the goal. And then in the second half, a majestically taken free kick stroked into the top corner of Jordan Pickford's net from about 22-25 yards. So and then from then on, a comfortable afternoon's work.
Go over to the far side. The Manchester City players salute their fans that have followed. There's a whole raft of stewards that have lined the Goodison Park bottom of the stands and in and around the dugouts. I don't know if they were expecting trouble, but they are guarding against any protests from Everton fans in a difficult season. Job done for City. They've won 3-0, 4 points clear. It's over to you, Arsenal, at 4:30 as they take on Brighton. We're done here at Goodison Park. Let's take you to Wembley for the Women's FA Cup final. Manchester United against Chelsea, and Stacey Copeland